Your financial needs aren't independent of each other, so your financial advisors shouldn't be either. At Mercantile Bank, our experienced United Wealth professionals are united to serve you and your complete financial planning and wealth management needs. Are you just starting your investment journey or need to roll over a retirement plan? Do you need to plan for a loved one with special needs or for your own life after work? Maybe your business needs a succession plan or you want to enhance your employee benefit programs. Whatever steps you need to take, our United Wealth experts are ready to take them with you. Together, we are united.
Hi, this is Ron Kinscherf. Welcome to the Business Spotlight, brought to you by Mercantile Bank and Rober and Phillips Attorneys at Law. Today, we're going to talk to the folks from Pam Printers, Tim Haubrich and Justin Haubrich. Thanks for coming along, guys.
No problem.
Good morning. So, how long has Pam Printers been around?
I believe that we've been in business since about 1939,
Okay.
from what I've heard. I wasn't around then. Started in St. Louis.
Yeah, that was surprising. So, how did that all get going down there?
My great-grandfather and grandfather started the business, and they moved to St. Louis, and eventually the only reason they moved here is because my great-grandfather married somebody from, I believe, from Liberty.
Okay.
So they moved it to Quincy.
Okay.
So
And what's the PAM stand for?
PAM stands for Parish Action Magazine. It was a booklet that had articles about the church, about this, and then after Vatican Council II, they started in with the Pray Together Missal.
Okay, so they invented the Pray Together Missal, right?
I don't know if they invented it, but I do believe that I've always heard we were the first in business.
Okay, so at your heyday,
Mm-hmm.
how many missals were you guys printing? For how many churches?
I couldn't tell you the number, but I think their count was probably in excess of 500,000 plus.
Wow, okay.
And that would have been every month. Now
And
it's
that was a monthly.
Now it's not quite a quarterly publication, but it is published 4 times a year following the liturgical calendar. But in that heyday, that was in excess of 500,000 every single month.
That's amazing. That's just crazy.
Yeah, and the business started, actually, their first press was in the basement on North A Street where I was a baby. And then they built a shed on the back where they moved it there, and then a bit to 10th and Cedar. And in '65, they bought the current location where we're at now.
Have you worked anyplace else?
No, I've always worked for our family.
What about you, Justin?
Yes, I've worked quite a few different jobs, especially when I was going to college. Never really anticipated coming back to the shop.
Really?
But it worked out in such a way that here I am.
So, you're a very good artist also. So did you just learn that trade working at the shop, or did you go to school
I've
for
always
that type of thing?
I've always enjoyed art. Even as a kid, I drew a lot. My grandmother, both my biological grandmothers were artists.
Mm-hmm.
And when Grandpa was on the road, my brother and I would stay at her house, and she says, "What do you want to do?" I said, "I want to draw."
Mm-hmm.
So I've always liked it and got into it, and then majored in art, then came back in '83 and started at PAM.
And what brought you back?
Not working overnight.
Oh, really?
But
Okay.
also, having time away from Quincy, I've sort of did the typical, I want to get out of town, I want to be on my own. Did that for 4 or 5 years and realized that I had a much better opportunity working with my family business and with my dad and at that time my grandpa. So I moved back and started working in August of 2011 full-time. And then been there, ever since. And then I do remember actually working at the shop as a kid.
Did you make all the boys did? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, you all either worked at one of the businesses, like I always have. I worked at a block yard that we owned. I worked on a beer truck. I worked, when I was little, Dad needed somebody on the collator. You came and stacked books.
Okay.
I got to work on that exact same collator when I was a kid.
Yeah, so after he left, were you shocked when he came and had that conversation with you about joining the family business? Tim?
You actually
No.
called me.
I
you
called
called-
him.
oh, okay.
I said, 6 years in college is enough, move home.
6 years sans degree, working overnight in various warehouses and things like that. So it was a time in my life where I probably needed a redirection, and I think having the paternal instinct sensed that and offered the job, and I took it.
So
are you in the same job now as you were that you offered him then, or did you start him at
No,
the lowest rung
he
possible?
actually ran ran a press and started in the press room, and then moved into our sales, I believe, after our sales manager passed away. Or were you in there with Mike before?
Well, Mike Leeson was there when I believe I had started, and then Mike
Shortly after you
Holbrook.
moved. Yeah,
Mike Holbrook
did.
worked with us for a few years,
Okay.
and then I succeeded Mike Holbrook in our sales and marketing department.
So printing quarterly now, correct? The Pray-togethers.
Correct.
Is that easier for you guys? And does it reduce the amount of business that you're receiving?
I mean, naturally, print has died wherever you look, and if you're not a niche printer like we are, a lot of shops are out of business. We also do general printing, so that also fills some of the voids. I'll print anything on paper.
Okay.
But as far as
the missile,
Yeah.
I mean, that's our bread
Bread and butter. But if
Right.
you only do it quarterly, I mean, do you start printing the next quarter's missiles as soon as that's like fourth? Or you're already working on the fourth quarter missiles now, or you're already is fourth quarter, but first quarter missiles.
We're sending out right now our first issue, which starts Advent of 25 in November.
Right.
November 1st or 2nd, I believe.
So the
we're usually
publishing-
3 or 4 months ahead of time.
Okay.
The publishing also is not directly quarterly. It is tied to the liturgical calendar, so
Right.
it's not like specifically every 3 months. But there is about a 2 or 3 month lead time for production. So the first
Okay.
issue that he's talking about is our first issue of 2025, which technically starts December 1st and will run all the way through April 12th, I believe. But those books are already produced. We're already in the process of shipping those out.
Oh wow. Okay.
Right
So, where do you get the material? Are you working directly with the Catholic? I don't want to say the Vatican, but
No,
or
you have to,
get that
you
from
have
the
to go
ch-
through the Bishops' Committee out of Washington, D.C., the
Okay.
USCCB,
Now you-
which I can't put in the missile what I want. They say you have to put this in
I
and follow
understand
our
that.
guidelines.
But do you have to be certified, some sort of certification to be able to work with that council, or is
no,
it just
it's all under contract.
okay? So all under so you have okay. Do you have exclusivity for the territory of this area or anything
No,
like that?
it's wherever we can sell, we're
Okay.
able to sell.
So how many churches are you working with now?
I couldn't answer that. I just pay the bills.
Okay.
But they're
You have
all
an
over
idea?
that. We're all over the country.
You are.
It's, I would venture to say that it is in the thousands.
Wow.
And then we do also send a few shipments overseas.
to
Okay.
some military bases and stuff like that.
Okay.
But then we also do individual subscriptions as well. We'll send it to your home.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now the backside of the missiles have ads and stuff like that. Is that the church responsibility to sell that stuff?
No, that is our responsibility, but that really is. There's not a whole lot of those. Most of ours are a stock cover that have prayers on the back,
Right.
artwork that I do on the front.
It's also, I think, kind of a terminology difference that people kind of get mixed up. The Missalette is the follow-along book that we use, but we also do church bulletins that
That's where I'm coming from, yeah.
is substantially carried by advertising.
Right.
And actually, the PAM that he had mentioned earlier, the Parish Action magazine, was sort of a precursor of what now people would recognize as like a church bulletin.
So how many bulletins? So everybody that you do a pray together for, do you also print bulletins for them?
No, I mean some
wish.
churches. I wish we did
Right,
too.
yeah.
Some churches just opt to have our missiles. We have some churches that just opt to have our bulletins. We have some that have both.
Okay. So the bulletin aspect has to be, I would think, why you guys don't have hair, because dealing with churches, they have to get you the material in a timely fashion for you guys to be able to print those.
They do, and usually our busiest day anymore is Tuesdays, which we're sending bulletins. They're in and out the door the same day to Tennessee, to Kansas, to Illinois, to Missouri.
But here's what I'm envisioning is like, we haven't got St. Bernadette's information yet from Louisville, Kentucky. I need to call them. Oh wait,
yeah.
They have 3 funerals going on,
Right.
You know, something like that. So
Absolutely.
When they have a target time that they're supposed to have it into us, if we don't see it, we usually give them a phone call. Hey, what are we doing? And sometimes, like there's one out in Kansas we just did last week. She says, I'm not going to be able to get that bulletin in until Wednesday.
right.
I hope you get it in time, and which they did. But usually it's a rush job.
Yeah. Let's talk about your general printing business.
Okay.
How many presses do you guys got?
We have 3 perfecting presses, which means that they can print on a single sheet at the same time.
Right.
I have one
Front and back.
4-color press, which prints 4 colors one side, and then a couple other sheet feds that also duplex as well.
Okay.
But we also have some digital printing machines that are for a little bit shorter runs, and then we just put in a machine last year that really cranks out the work at full color both sides.
So you mentioned you can print anything on paper. I mean,
Yes.
legitimately, you can print anything on paper.
Just about.
Except money.
Except money. So, do you do sports programs, or can you do sports programs, stuff like that, or is that not a niche?
I mean, I can do sports programs, a lot of coded stuff on really high quality print. I'll probably source out on general stuff like letterheads, envelopes, newsletters, similar to our bulletins. It's easy if they can work with the stocks that I have. I can usually get stuff in if they do need it. Years ago, if you wanted a full-blown 4-color job, it was very expensive, and you would need a minimum quantity, at least 1,000. Now somebody walks and says, I want a high-quality job. I need 10 copies. Boom, it's done.
Do people around here know you do that, the general printing type stuff?
They might now.
You know my point. I mean,
yeah, no, I mean, I don't advertise anywhere our general printing, but I do a lot. You know, we do stuff for some companies all throughout the city, and some people just walk in and say, well, can you do this? Yeah, I can do that.
I mean, you don't advertise. I mean, you have that niche, and you're been very, very successful with that niche, and I didn't know if that was a section of your business. Obviously, you want more business, but that people might not know about,
right?
That you do that type of stuff.
But yeah, I mean, like I say, I'll look at any job on paper, and my job is to price it out, and then I also do layout and design on it.
Okay, and then you print it.
We print it, yeah.
You print it, and then in an 8-hour day, how much are the printers running?
It could also depend on the time of the month.
I understand. Yeah.
Right, time of the month. Anymore, like right now, I got everybody in the back, and they're shipping out boxes of our missalette, but then one of them might have to go up and run a bulletin on a press. I run a lot of the bulletins on the digital machines myself. And then
there is probably also, there's a handful of walk-in work, people that say, can I get... Oh, yeah. People just... we're at 10th of Vermont, 1012 Vermont Street, right under the big water tower. People will walk in maybe a half dozen to a dozen times. We'll get jobs that just walk in the front door. And I think a lot of the exposure that we get from people is because they tell their friends. They said, I needed a quick, couple copies of this, or they helped me lay out and design this and that. And, but it's kind of a lot of word of mouth at this point.
Okay. So, that's kind of cool, though. I mean, that's a Quincy type thing. Is you've been around 75 years, and then the word of mouth and the reputation you guys have had.
Because I'm 4th generation, 5th generation, and
I pick up the boys from St. Peter's after
6th
school,
generation
and
hangs out at the shop.
I'll bring a pack of 4 boys, for the last hour of work. And yesterday we were unloading some boxes and things, and one of my boys was out, helping us, carry cardboard and stuff like that. So I think there's a strong interest in maintaining that kind of
cool.
Family feeling.
So how is that work with the payroll with the oldest boy helping out? I mean, how do you handle that, Tim, in the office? I mean, does he have his own
this
time
oldest
card?
Boy
No, his oldest boy. Yeah,
I don't pay him. I might give him some.
He gets room and board out in Fowler. Are you kidding
me? They get popcorn.
All right, there you go. Hey, thanks for coming in, guys.
Thank you, Ron.
All
right.
Thank you. Tim Haubrich, Justin Haubrich from Pam Printers. This has been the Business Spotlight, brought to you by Mercantile Bank and Rober and Phillips, attorneys at law.